Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Record Drums Online podcast, the podcast where I get to chat and interview session drummers, mixing and mastering engineers, and also music producers. Today's guest is Matt Ingram. If you don't know, Matt is an incredible drummer, producer, songwriter, and also a great mixing engineer. He's got his own studio called Urchin Studios, who co-founded it with another engineer, Dan Cox. And he worked with the likes of Lianne La Havas, Florence and the Machine, Laura Marling, Jake Bugg, Tom Odell, the list goes on. And he's just a great guy, an incredible drummer. He's got great tones. It just always comes up with amazing drum tones. And I definitely recommend checking out his Instagram. You can see all of that. And this whole episode, we talk about how to mic up drums, how to mix drums, how he likes to approach artists in terms of especially singers, and how he likes to come up with drum parts, because sometimes, you kind of have to have this sort of interaction with the singer and just find exactly where the drum sits well within the song, and he's a master at this. So we talk about that, and yeah, so as always, make sure to subscribe, tell your friends if you like this podcast. And one more thing, this is the last episode of the podcast of this season. This is season 1. I don't know if there will be a season 2. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still deciding what to do next. But just wanted to let you know, if you don't see another episode next week, it's because this is it. This is season 1 done. I've done 32 interviews with 32 amazing guests. All of them, they were phenomenal. I was so lucky to interview them. And so at the moment, this is it. But fingers crossed, there'll be another season 2, and I'll get more people involved. But for now, please enjoy this interview with the one and only Matt Ingram.
There you go. Nice one. All right. Hey, Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for taking the time. Cheers. Yeah. So good to see you. Normally, as always, we start the podcast just with a brief introduction. If you could give us a brief introduction by yourself and how you started in music and became the great drummer, producer, songwriter that you are today. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but so do you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, just if you could give us just from the very beginning, how you got into music. What was the...
Okay. Well, so I'd say I am in equal parts a drummer, songwriter, producer, and producer mixer. And currently, I think if you broke it up over a year, I'm probably doing 25%.
All right.
Of each of those things in various combinations.
Yeah.
But I started life as a drummer, and I think if you cut me open, it would say drummer. Do you know what I mean? That was my kind of gateway drug into music. Was I got a drum kit when I was 11, and probably like you, man, probably like all of us, just instantly got really obsessed. It suddenly became I remember the day the drum kit arrived. I got Premier. It was quite cool, actually. It was called a Premier Club, and it had it was 12, 13, 16, 20, and it had rototoms. The classic.
Wow.
6-8. Yeah.
That was your starter kit. Wow, man. That's really good. Yeah.
And just the day that kit arrived, it was okay, this is serious. Without sounding trite, it really changed my life. It suddenly drums became my complete focus. Just I think if you talk to any musician, there's that point where you just at some point in your teens, you just become obsessed. Probably the same with you, right, Chris? You get John.
Yeah. There is only that. No more friends. No more. No one else. Just I do.
So really, so I'm 48 now. Like really, until I was 25, the only thing I wanted to do was to play drums. That was my only focus. And then obviously, as you get older, you get just more interested in. Well, I think two things happen. Firstly, I think you naturally get interested in other things. And also, just because the nature of the music industry changing, you sort of have to diversify, right? I don't like that word, but you do. You've got to widen up your skill set. So I think when I was approaching my 30s, I realized that it wasn't necessarily the drums I liked. I do like drumming, obviously, but it was what I really want to do is make music with other people. That's really the thing. And I think that was why I was drawn to drums, was because, oh, wow, I can invite other people around to my house now that have a bass and we can sort of do something together.
So an instrument to get you to actually play and just make music with other people. It was like the kind of,
exactly. And you know, that's still true of today. Like I don't really make music on my own. I'm not that interested in it. I think my job and my usefulness is as a collaborator. Like I'm not an artist in that sense. And I find collaboration, it's just how I you know, process music and stuff, you know.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. And then when did you start it, you know, like this is actually what I want to do, and I'm gonna even open a studio, because you have your own studio, Urchin Studios in Hackney, but I believe that before it wasn't in Hackney, right?
Yeah, so Urchin, the first studio was in Cable Street. Have you ever been there? Cable Street Studio?
No.
It's an enormous. I think it used to be like a sweet factory, but it's massive. It's an enormous Victorian warehouse that at some point in the last 25 years was converted into artist studios.
Okay.
And the first Urchin was a unit in that I started completely by accident. I never thought, oh, I'm going to open a studio. But a studio that I was working in was essentially derelict. And I was in a band at the time with a guy called Dan Cox, who's my business partner in Urchin. And just through circumstance, luck, we started Urchin Studios in nearly 20 years ago. It was 2007 was our first studio. Yeah. And it happened like very, you know, you talk about diversifying, and it just happened kind of by accident. And now we're currently in Hackney Wick, and we have 11 studios. We have a unit with 11 studios in. So we've got a lot bigger. But yeah, I mean, just to give props to Dan. Dan is the kind of genius behind Urchin. And if it was up to me, we probably wouldn't have lasted a year. He's better at running things than I am.
It must be tough. I remember when I came by your studio, the one in the Hackney, and you told me this, and I was like, wow. You told me that you guys moved during COVID, right? Or just before COVID, 2020, something like that?
Yeah.
Right?
So yes. So our first studio was in Cable Street. Then we had a second studio which we opened in 2012 in London Fields.
Okay.
Which had two studios. We had a big live room and a control room, and then a sort of smaller studio like I'm in now. And then that building got redeveloped in 2020. It got torn down, classic, turning it into flats. And then we found this place, and we went. Let's just say we went big, and we now have we have 11 studios. So we've got a big live room and a control room that's like our kind of commercial studio, and then we've got 10 other sort of production rooms. The one I'm in now, which is mine, which you visited.
Yeah. Where people can actually write music, collaborate. Yeah, it's a great space, man. Like, it's awesome.
The great.
What is it like? When you told me that story, I was like, wow, that must have been so hard to during COVID. Just like you build this whole thing, and just you're like, oh, there you go. Now we're locked down and all that. It must have been quite a.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think the reason that it happened was because of COVID. In that, there was a kind of a pause, and Dan and I weren't sure what we were going to do in terms of, so, you know, our old studio in London Fields is shutting down. What are we going to do? And we found this space, and we were like, let's just make this work. Whereas I don't know if there hadn't been the pandemic, and I don't know, maybe if I was touring, because I was supposed to be touring 2020, and it got cancelled, or like maybe it wouldn't have happened, you know, if I was busy doing other things. Again, it's just one of those, you know, life comes at you, man, and you just react to it, you know. And
go for it.
Exactly.
And when did you start getting interested in recording drums? When was the time that you're like, you know what, I want to start? Was it because you were collaborating with other musicians? You're like, you know what, actually I need to learn how to do this.
No, it was probably the same reason that we all get into recording drums. I went into a studio when I was 18, and it was the first studio, like my first recording experience. And I just got a new kit, right? It was a Pearl Session Series, which was like a massive upgrade from I had an export, and it was my 18th birthday. I got this Session Series kit, like 4 toms.
Wow.
And it sounded unbelievable. And I was going in with my band, and I'd spent like the week leading up to the recording. I bought new heads. I spent like just, you know, like a week like tweaking it, and got it sounding what I thought was amazing. I thought this is gonna sound, when I go into the studio, I'm gonna sound exactly like John Bonham. It's gonna be amazing. Obviously, I went into the studio, and it was just one of those classic terrible first studio experiences where I just got this really dour middle-aged engineer who just like hears the kit and goes, no, you got to do something about that ring, mate. Those toms are ringing too much. And just like, and at the time I was going for like a really like open thing. And yeah, he ended up putting just loads of tape over everything, and which is a cool sound, right? But let me just say, that was not the sound I was going for at that particular moment. And it just sounded rubbish. And then I kept having studio experiences like that. And it was like, why do the drums sound good to me? And whenever I record them, it's just rubbish. They sound nothing like how I think they sound in the room, or how I want them to sound in my head. And then I did a recording studio. I did a recording session. I was about 23, 24 with a guy called Chris Kimsey, who had recorded a couple of Stones albums.
Wow.
And the drums sounded unbelievable. Right. I was just like, oh my God, like why, what has happened? So I just started asking him loads of questions. And that's how you start, right? That's how you start. It's like firstly, you go to a session and you're like, why does this sound good? And then you just start the nerd out. You just kind of get into. Also, I would say, if you're starting out today, so you know, when I started recording and started drumming, to professional sounding gear was really expensive. And if you wanted a professional result, you had to go to a studio. You know, you weren't going to get it with like an M-Box and Pro Tools 5. You know what I mean? Whereas like now, the cost of recording gear that's good is so much more relatively affordable than it was. So, you know, that I'm kind of going off on a slight tangent, but in terms of my interest in recording, it just comes from kind of frustration and
It's like, of course, I have the same drums, same everything. How come with this guy it sounds great and with the other guy actually doesn't sound good? Yeah.
And then you get into not tricks, but you start to have more sympathy in your playing as to what a microphone wants. So I did a record in Ireland. This is shortly after the Chris Kimsey thing. And it was with a producer called Carl Odlum. And it was a great experience. We were out in like we did it in a house in on the west coast of Ireland, like right in the middle of nowhere. And I had a Gretsch snare, and the producer Carl says, "Oh, what you should do," he says, like, tune it right down, just so there's like no tension in it. Just tune it all the way down and like get a wallet and put that on it. And I'd never done the kind of fat snare sound thing, and I hit it, and I was just like, God, this sounds fucking shit. And because I was used to more vibrant snares, everything felt like just terrible. So I was like, "Oh, I'll do it," and I ended up playing it, and then obviously heard it through what he'd recorded, and it sounded amazing. Right. I was like, okay, well, this is like the opposite of what's happened before, like something's feeling weird in the room. So you know what I mean? So and I think like the more you get kind of good results through sound, you just pick up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good.
And now, I mean, dude, I'm sure it's happened with you. I've got some drum sounds I really like that record really well, but kind of sound horrific in the room.
Right. Okay.
Because
you know how to make them sound good, so it's fine. Like it doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah. You might be going for a really kind of crunchy thing, with like no low end, so you end up doing insane things to your kit in order to achieve.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like the more I ask people actually how they recorded, the more I hear a lot of this stories of people just saying like there is, this guy was saying like, there is no bad sound. I know how to make it sound good. So it's okay. I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah. I need to learn that. I need to learn how to make it sound good because no, it's great. And how do you go about when because when you mic up a drum kit, when I came to your studio, it was like you showed me something that I thought it was like so cool. You were like, I don't use any bottom snare drum, snare mic, and I was like, wow, this is since I met you actually, I was like, actually I don't need one. It's fine, yeah.
So have you not been using one, Chris?
So this is the thing. When I record remotely for other people, I normally put it just because people sometimes they want like the sort of they want the option of having one. But normally, if I'm recording, I mean, if you see, probably you cannot see, but that kit, that 3 microphones, like, and it's just like Coles and snare SM57 and a kick mic. That's it, like nothing else, and it sounds all right. Again, I know how to make it sound good. So,
you get great sounds, man. Yeah.
No, so it's fine, but it's the first time you showed me that, I was like, oh, wait a minute, actually I don't need. Can you tell us your thoughts on just?
Yeah. So but just Chris, just to say, I'm with you in that if I'm doing a remote session, sometimes you have to give them things that you might not want or you might not like yourself. But for me, the bottom snare mic thing is, I just think it sounds horrible. It's just a horrible sound. I mean, it's different. I can see a place for it. I don't know, maybe if you're doing like an absolutely slamming rock track,
Yeah.
and your snare has to get through like a wall of guitars,
Yeah.
having that little sizzle might be good, right?
Mhm.
But for the music that I'm making, I feel I don't need it, and I never like the sound of it. And whenever I can hear that sound, you know, that specific sound of like the papery, whenever I can actually
Sizzle.
hear it in a drum mix, I absolutely hate it. It's
Mhm.
just,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
whenever I've used it, I end up turning it down so much because I don't want to hear it. I just end up muting it. So I mean, if I'm producing something like you're saying, as opposed to a remote session, I will put on the minimal amount of mics as is needed. But yeah, as you say, remote stuff is different. Sometimes,
Yeah, it's just because you're not mixing it yourself, and so sometimes it happened to me many times actually that I've recorded with fewer mics, and I was like, this should be fine, and then I got told off. I was like, no, you know what, we're at the room mic, so we're at the, you know, I was like, well, you don't actually need it on this track. For me, people were like, no, you need to. So now I learned that I need to place as many mics, not as many mics, but just a good amount of microphones so that people are happy, and then just they can do whatever they want with it.
I think it depends who you're working for, because
Yeah,
like there are producers and artists I work with, and like I know what their process is, I know what they want, and I know that they're going to be happy with whatever I send them processed to achieve whatever sound they want. And if that's all microphones, then amen. But if it's I've got a session on Friday with an artist, it's a remote one, I've never worked with her before, so I'm going to be a bit safer. I might even put a snare bottom up, Chris. I might, you know.
Please send me a photo. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. We won.
Yeah. So you know,
Yeah.
I think you've just got to do. You've just got to do whatever is required of you.
Yeah. And when it comes like to just to miking up the drums, like what's your thought process? Like, of course, every song is different, so you know there is not like a one standard. But how do you approach the miking up the kit when someone sends you a demo?
You know, this is what I liked about Florian, what he was saying, and I agree with. A lot of the time, I'm not really thinking. You're just kind of doing, and sometimes you get so much of, particularly because I've been doing this so long, so much of the process is just kind of unconscious, and you're just like not really thinking. But I mean, the first thing I would say is that the first thing you do is like, okay, what am I going for? What sound do I want? What sound is required? And the first thing you would do is get the kit into whatever shape is needed to achieve that. So is it a Ringo come together really dead thing?
Yeah.
Or is it a you know, an Elvin Jones boingy, whatever. So whatever it is, get your kit in that roughly in that landing zone. And then I think my thought process is, and this isn't because I'm lazy, is what's the minimal amount of mics I can put on this kit in order to achieve that sound?
Yeah.
And the reason that I say the minimum amount of mics is that, like, to me, the biggest obstacle in getting a drum sound really great is phase. And my favorite drum sounds that I've ever got or have ever been got for me by engineers has always been really, really simple.
Right.
And also, I think, no, I know you want to work quickly. You want to just eliminate like any guff, particularly if the artist is with me and I'm in the room and I know they want a kind of White Stripes garage rock thing. Like, why would I put 15 mics up? That would be utterly insane. So I just think, okay, what's the minimum amount of work? Not work, but the minimum amount of time to get to the point I need to get to.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
And then you just, but that also, just to talk about Florian again, I get recording very quickly in that you just want to throw mics up and go.
Yeah.
And just I start recording pretty fast, because you never really know how it's going to sound until you hear it back through the speakers. And then you're okay, I need to do this. Also, like, I record most of my drums in this room, which is pretty small.
Yeah.
And there's not that many mic placement options for overheads in a room like this, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that, like, I know if I place the overhead by my head, that gives me a certain thing. I know if I place it over the snare, that gives me a certain thing. And you know what I mean? So immediately when you're thinking of what sound do I want, you're just going to put, I'm going to put the mics as to like where
you want it to be, like, good to sound.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you use like any templates to speed up the process, or do you so you just open up like okay.
Yeah, do you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. I have a mix template, but I don't have a drum template. Maybe I should, Chris. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll do that when we finish.
It's funny. Some people they're very for it, and some, because apparently like speeds up the process way more. Like, I spoke to this guy from Germany, amazing drummer, Alex Ofken. I don't know if you know him. He's on Instagram doing a lot of remote sessions, but he was saying like he's got different templates, like, you know, the sort of acoustic pop or just rock, and he says like when you record this kind of songs, all he does is just like save the templates, takes out all the audio files, and it's kind of, then of course he needs to tweak a little bit, a few things here and there. But I know also some people that they just like, no, go from scratch, and I just want to have like, I just want to have a good sound just from, I want to come up with something good from the start, so without having any. So yeah.
I mean, thinking about it now, Chris, in my head, I would think a template would pin me to something specific. Too quickly. I don't, I mean, it's so interesting, like having these, like listening to these podcasts and like having these chats. It's really interesting how everyone does it differently.
Differently.
And like, there are drummers that I really rate and I think are amazing. And when I listen to how they do something, you just be like, wow, I would never do it like that. But it's, I think we're all judged on what comes out of the speakers at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Not on what our processes are, So
sure.
like, I think whatever gets you there,
Yeah, for sure. When it comes, for example, to tuning, do you have any particular thoughts on tuning? Like, do you tune specific pitch, or just like make them sound good, or just not? Okay.
Make them sound good. I mean, the specific pitch thing, I think I just don't think drums have enough of a fundamental note in them to make it worth. The songs in D. Dun, 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 it does.
Yeah.
I mean, my thoughts on tuning are the same as mic placement. You just get it somewhere fast.
Yeah.
And then and also, like, what are you going for? Are you going for? I find that whenever I've really taken lots of time, so I spend 10 minutes tuning my rack tom, it never sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, you sort of roughly get it to where you want to go, and I think that most drums, to me, sound better after you play them for 10 minutes, you know? So say I'm going for a more ringy Motown, 12-inch tom, doing, you know, thing. What I would do is I would get the tom roughly where it needs to be, all the drums roughly where it needs to be, and then I just start playing and see how that tom or the tuning sounds in context with the rest of the kit. Like the idea of being in a studio, right? This is insane, and it's probably happened to all of us. You're in a studio, haven't even heard the song, and you've got some engineer asking you to hit the tom for 10 minutes. That's just totally insane. And then you hear the floor tom, and then you hear the kick drum. So yeah, it would be to sort of say, yeah, get the tuning roughly, get the drum, the overheads and the mics roughly, and then record it, and then hear it in relation to the track. And also, what I'm doing, I'm always playing to music. Like no one's hired me for my drum solo project. So you've always got to, I guess this is the thing, another thing, Chris, is like when I've spent ages tuning, I think, oh, it sounds great in the room. And then you put it in the track and it's like, oh, it's not right. So my approach,
like all this time for spend all this time for nothing.
Yeah, is to just to not be too precious about it.
Yeah.
And you know, like you know your kit, I know my kit. It's one kit I play most of the time.
Yeah. The Amen, right? The Amen stick. Right?
Yeah,
so good.
and it's great. And I know it, like it's that kit is a part of me, and I know just how I know where I can bend it in order to get it to wherever it kind of needs to be. And a lot of it is in the playing, you know. It's it's the combination of playing, tuning, mic placement, there, blah blah blah, all those
yeah. I wanted to just about so for example, just one more thing. It's not about tuning, but snare, for example, snare sound. Do you, like, you know, when I was speaking actually with Simon, he was like, yeah, I audition snares, and I just use, like, you know, just try them out to see like what works in the. How do you go about like choosing the right snare? Do you just tune it the right way, or just do you choose a, you know? I mean, right snare. I mean, like right snare for the song. Sorry, no right snare for it.
No snares get auditions.
Okay.
I've got basically two snares. I've got a Ludwig 400. 400, yeah, the 5 with. And if I'll get it.
Nice.
So I've got this, and
oh yeah.
So I think it's a 70s one, and I haven't changed the head on it for like 10 years. And this one does the deck, and I've got like lots of tape and shit on it.
Yeah.
This one does the dead snare thing.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I do say it does that thing. I do sometimes take the tape off if I want something a bit more ringy.
Okay.
But like the Heyman, I'll bend that snare wherever I feel it wants to go. And then I do have two other snares. I've got a Cravioto wooden one that to be honest sounds really weird. It's kind of cool, but it's got a kind of weird sound. And then I've got like I've got some other snares, right? But it's mostly that one.
Okay. Yeah.
And so if I'm doing a session on my own, I'll start with that snare. But then obviously if I'm doing a session elsewhere, I do bring 3 or 4 snares.
Nice. Okay.
But most of the time there isn't an audition process, Chris.
Okay. No. You just know, and also, you know, as you were saying, like, you know exactly how to tweak things and just make them sound good, because you had those, you know, those drums for a while. So.
Right. And you can do so much with mic placement. I mean, obviously, Christo, but if someone like if I had some reference track and it was like, I don't know, just trying to think of a snare sound, like they wanted it like the Black Album, like Lars Ulrich. I'm obviously not going to use that. I'm just, not that anyone's ever asked me for that. I'd love it if they did. So yeah.
Nice. No, amazing. Okay. And you talked also about playing and Alan, your pocket. When I see your videos, sometimes you post a few little bit. I'm like, wow, the pocket, the sound. Yeah. How do you, if you could recommend a way to develop good timing and just get better at, touch when playing drums?
Right.
Of course, like it's a very broad question. This is like, but is there anything that you would recommend to someone that like trying to get there?
That's a difficult question. That's a really difficult question. I don't know. I mean, I think you start out emulating players that you like, right? That's how we start. You kind of essentially just try to pantomime all your favorite drummers.
Yeah.
And then I think that, like, if I think about all of the parts that make up a session, right? When like miking, drum placement, like the thing that I think about the most is how am I going to approach the touch and the playing of this, right? So I think most of what makes good drumming sound good is the player.
Yeah.
It's not, and I think that, like everyone, right? For so many years, I was like, if I just had like this snare or like this mic or like this, if I could just have Steve Albini record me, I'd sound exactly like Dave Grohl, and you sort of go like this. Whereas, like, actually, you are responsible for your sound, and the way you want it. So in terms of, I think just being aware of that, and in terms of developing your touch, right? I think it's just about being aware of like what you think sounds good. For example, I don't sound good when I hit the drums too hard.
Yeah.
I think and I worked this out about in my 30s, right? I like the sound of the drums when they're not spanked.
Yeah.
And I think if I could critique my playing in my 20s, it was that I hit too hard. I think something happens to the sound of a drum when it's not being whacked by me. There's like more low end in it. There's just everything just sort of sits better. Now, this is an interesting thing. Some drummers can absolutely batter the drums and get a really big fat sound. Like think about Dave Grohl. I mean, he's hitting like really hard, and somehow he doesn't seem to like choke the drums. Whereas, and to compare him to like Taylor Hawkins, who is a great drummer, but almost part of his sound was that he kind of choked them, and they're like, the way that Copeland does, but like edgy and like in your face, and he just has a different sound. I really like all of my favorite drummers are the ones that have like kind of tone and like the sort of like natural low end. So I find that when that I like to approach the drums by not spanking them. For some reason, when I start spanking, all the low end goes, and I just think it doesn't sound very good. So I think it's just in terms of developing your tone, I think you just need to play and to respond to the things that sound good to you and your taste and what you are going for. I think that's all you can do.
100%. Yeah. No, that's actually so interesting. I never thought about it, but yeah, it's so true that there are some players that they play loud and they go for it, and somehow they get great tones, and other players they play quiet and they get great tones. So it's yeah. Never played it that way. Yeah.
Abe Labero Jr. is another one. He looks like he's hitting really hard, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just so. I mean, he uses like enormous drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, his yeah. I mean,
yeah. I watched the other day. Do you know Yogi Horton, this drummer, is an amazing session player, and I saw his DVD, and he was like, yeah, so somehow sound engineers, they're like, when I play louder, I was like, wait a minute, this is wrong. But then, his playing is so good when he plays loud, and it's like, yeah, sorry, no, you're right. So I guess some people, they just make it, but I don't know, they're either made up just play loud, and some other people, they just, I don't know, it's
yeah, I mean, I think it depends on like the music that you're playing as well.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm not playing metal or like anything like really, really aggressive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's completely. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of like singer-songwriter stuff and whatever folk.
This is actually what I wanted to ask you. When you have like singer-songwriters that they come to you and they're like, okay, I've got this song, I don't know what drum beat can fit. Sometimes, I don't know, I find that I have to tell, you know what, I don't think this song needs drums, or I don't know, or it just needs me.
Never tell them that, Chris.
That's the wrong way. No, but it's just like sometimes, just you kind of feel like, especially you as a producer, as yourself, like how do you go about, just even fills and stuff like that? How do you ambition what fills to play, or what?
It depends. I think that every person that you work with is really different and has different tastes and different things they want from drummers. I mean, I would say that every singer, right, doesn't really care what you play. What they want you to do is they want you to add emotional weight to the song, right?
Yeah.
Most singers aren't into like the technicalities of drums, or so when you're playing drums on, say, a pre-existing track, or vocals there, everything's done, don't need drums, the singer will listen back to it and will not really be listening to your drums, will be listening to your drums in relation to their vocal and basically, Chris, in short, you need to get out the way, and you just need to, and I think of it as like, you want to get the drums kind of behind the vocal, and it's almost like you're getting them behind the vocal and you're kind of pushing them out.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is, I mean, the vocal tells you everything. It tells you how hard you should hit. It tells you where the pocket is. It tells you what kind of tone you should get from the drums. But, so you just listen to it and react to it accordingly. I mean, in terms of fills, just, you put them wherever.
Yeah.
Wherever you can get away with, Chris. But I mean,
for bars.
I would say that it really depends on who you're working with. I would say that like at this point in my career, if somebody's heard something that I've played on that they like, it makes it way easier, because they'll reference something. I really like that sound you got, like blah blah blah.
Okay.
Sometimes you work. I did a lot of work with an artist called Jordan LeCamper, who is great, massive voice, and he loves drums. He's a pretty good drummer himself, actually.
Wow. Okay.
But he'll come in with some he'll come in a session with like an Andy Newmark video and goes, check this out. Can you make it sound like this? And so all the stuff that I've done with him, I like way more drummy. I'll get some you know what I mean? I'll get some shuffle like something. But most singers aren't like that.
No, yeah. That's so cool. No.
But I think what you're doing, Chris, is what I feel I'm doing is I am providing a bespoke service to whoever comes in.
Nice.
Which is, again, maybe that's why I don't use templates, right? So you're just like, okay, what do you like? Also, crucially, you've got to figure out what they don't like. Every artist has these kind of red flags. A lot of the time it's cymbals. So many artists, singer-songwriters I work with don't know cymbals. And I think it comes from being in a rehearsal room, a really small rehearsal room with a drummer that's really loud, and all you can hear is like,
well, every singer I talk to, they're always like, guys, can you just put something in front of your cymbals? Just I don't want to. So everything, comes into my mic, like all the cymbals village, and
that's happened. I mean, I've done quite a few cymballess albums.
Yeah, really. Oh wow. Okay.
Like no crashes. Quite a few actually. Also, I mean, on that, I quite like drum sounds that are quite distorted and kind of nasty. And you know what it's like. You've got that sound going on. You hit like a 19-inch crash, and suddenly your whole picture goes. You're just like, and that's it. So yeah,
true.
You've got to be careful. Got to be careful with cymbals, man.
Yeah. When it comes to recording, on the way in, do you put anything, or you just go flat, just try, okay, and then after you add whatever you need?
I mean, I don't have any outboard here. I sometimes, if I'm doing like the sock mic, the one in the middle of the kit, I might spank that through. I've got like a UAD Apollo, so I might spank that through something on the way in.
Okay. Nice.
But no, most of the time I'm recording flat. Again, because it's just quicker.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. That's so cool. Yeah. Hey, we normally do this thing at the end of every episode. You've probably seen this. Like we did like 10 rapid fire questions, where we're asked the same questions actually to all the guests. So you probably know already the answers. But yeah, so we did this thing where so first one is top 3 albums for best drum sounds.
Okay, I knew you were going to ask this.
Yeah.
And
came prepared.
It would be different on a different day, right?
Yeah.
But today, I'm going to say, what am I going to say today? Let's go Led Zeppelin 2. I'm going to go Black Album, Metallica. Just
come on.
Great drum sounds. And I'm also going to go Beck, Sea Change.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. Amazing. Second is favorite part of your job.
My favorite part of my job is doing my job and not having to do another job. That's, like, because in my 20s, it took me quite a while to get, let's say, full time in music. And I was like doing just all the crap jobs, bar jobs, worked in schools, worked in a call center, So I think the best part of my job is I get to do music every day with people that I really love. And that's just great. I really don't take that for granted. And it's a very kind of motivating factor to kind of keep going. And I really like meeting people, and I love collaboration, and I like learning. I feel like I feel like I'm at my happiest, and also I feel like I'm crucially doing my best work when you're kind of in new territory somehow. So that could be playing, that could be a mic placement that you never thought of before. Do you know what I mean? Something that's like new and exciting, and you can see possibility through that.
Experimenting with yourself. Nice. 3 is worst part of your job.
Worst part of my job. I mean, I would say that the music industry can be a difficult place, you know. I love musicians, and the people that I connect with and are friends with are all people like me, artists, musicians, producers. We're all great. But like the wider music industry can be a difficult place, you know, and you've got to be very resilient, and there's a lot of, it can be difficult out there. There's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of bad actors out there. You know, and there can be a lot of rejection and a lot of disappointment, and it can be a really tough place. So I'd say like the most difficult thing about this job has been kind of navigating, let's say, you know, the uncertainties of the music business. It can be really hard.
For sure.
Yeah.
4 is piece of gear you cannot do without when recording drums at the moment.
Like mics, or can it be the drums?
Could be anything. Could be anything. Like could be drums. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be my Heyman. Like yeah. I mean, I do have other drums.
Yeah.
But I just always go back to that. It's 90.
When I play and I was there, it's amazing. It sounds so good, man. It's such a great kid.
It's really is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So 5 is dream artist you love to record for, to work with.
I'm gonna say Jack White. I was watching him at Coachella.
Oh, wow.
And he's got a new band. Who's the guy that was playing with him that has everything?
Darryl Jones.
He was great, right? I mean, Jack White's always got great musicians playing for him. But he's got the guy that was in, I don't know, his name's Patrick something. I can't remember his name. He was in one of Jack White's previous bands. Anyway, it was this Coachella performance, and they were doing Icky Thump, and I just thought, fuck me, that looks like so much fun. Just, you know, imagine playing like Icky Thump with that massive guitar sound, I just thought, yeah, sign me up for that, Jack.
Yeah.
If you're listening. But, you know, there's so many. Chris, who would yours be?
My dream artist. Oh man, again, like it changes every single day. But I don't know. Like you put me on the spot. I have no idea. Like I always do these questions, like literally always these same questions. But I never think of the answer I would give. Like dream artist I would love to record. I don't know, probably Radiohead. Like if I had to choose one, like
that would be a good one.
Yeah, just like if I had to just pick one right now, it would be probably Radiohead or Tom York, and just figure out how to come up with weird sounds that's just somehow it just works. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 6 is what plugins you normally use on your drum bass. This is like very geeky.
No, let's go there. Okay, it would be variants on this. It would be an EQ first, usually a pull tech, and that would be adding a bit of 10K, and maybe a bit of low end. It depends on what you got going in. Then sometimes 50% of the time there would be some kind of compressor, mix bus compressor. So maybe an API 2500, maybe even the SSL, the kind of G series, and you've got that, and it's really not doing a lot. It's just, I think of the mix bus compression as like where do you want the drums to sit in the mix, and if they're too throwy and you want to push them back a bit, if they're getting on top of the vocal a little bit, you want to push them back, then you just like put the attack slightly faster. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll kind of push it back a little bit, but always on a slow attack fast release, and kind of and sort of pumping with the groove, and not doing a lot, 2-3 dB max. You know, just that kind of glue thing.
Yeah.
And then after that is usually some sort of saturation. So it's the Devil Lock is great. I've recently been using the UAD, the Culture Vulture.
Oh, right, okay.
Do you know that one? It's just
I heard of it, but I never tried it. No, I haven't tried it yet. No.
It's an emulation of a piece of tube gear by Thermionic Culture, and it's just a really nice saturator.
Nice.
And
do you use it like as in the drum bass, and then you add it a little bit in the mix, or do you use it as parallel?
So if I'm using a Devil Lock, that will be on parallel because it sounds mental, you know. So that's usually anywhere from like 1 to like 30% if you want something really smashy. And then interestingly, the Culture Vulture I've been using just 100% wet.
Okay.
And just, you know, you can get a kind of lighter saturation, but you can also spank it if you want.
Okay. Nice.
And I mean, I feel that like most of the work of like saturation, compression, and tone I'll be doing on the mix bus, you know, rather than on
the drums. Yeah.
On the individual. And then after that there'll be some sort of maybe corrective EQ. So like you know, usually, you know, you can too much 200, too much 300. I'll be ducking some stuff at like whatever. Soother's been good. You know that Soothe plugin.
Yeah, it's a plugin. Yeah.
That's good if the cymbals are a bit like harsh or and that's usually it. It depends though. I mean, I did a mix a couple of weeks ago, and I had a phaser. Going on the mix bus.
Wow. On the mix bus, not on the drum bus. Oh, wow. Okay.
Sorry, Thomas.
On the drum bus. Okay. Yeah.
Because it sounded really good.
Yeah.
I was going for like a kind of cashmere. You know the drums on cashmere.
Yeah.
That sort of weird thing.
Nice.
So yeah.
So cool.
I've only ever done that once.
If it works with the song, I guess that's then 7 is there any book or video tutorial that you would recommend or found helpful in learning how to record drums?
I mean, probably like you, Chris, and probably like anyone that's going to be listening to this. I mean, I'm on YouTube all the time, picking up like whatever, like those Loughton audio videos have been amazing. I watched all of those. Do you know what the one book that was the best book about recording is the Mixer Man book? Have you know about that?
No, actually, no. Okay.
The Mixer Man was this guy who started a LA mixer who started a blog. I don't know, like I think it was in the really early days of the internet. Maybe he started it in the 90s, and he's just a great writer, really funny. And he wrote this book called Zen and the Art of Mixing. And it's a book about mixing without being remotely technical whatsoever. It's really interesting.
Sorry.
Like
it's not like, mentioned it.
It's not like, so compressions, ratio settings, it's just more about he talks about like the attitude of mixing and the attitude of recording. And that's probably the most inspiring book I've read about recording, because I think, and he has this line in it, right? It's always stuck with me. He's like, when you're mixing, be aggressive. And I love that phrase, be aggressive. And I think that when you're recording drums, you need to be aggressive in your pursuit of what you're going for. So being aggressive isn't like, oh yeah, I've got to play really hard. No. It's just like, think about what you want to go for. Yeah. What is it you're trying to achieve? And really just absolutely go for that thing. Nice. And I mean, there's so much music that I love. And I sort of feel that the music that really speaks to me is the ones where the artists and the team have just really gone for something. You know what I mean? And the music that I don't like tends to be something that isn't anything. It's so easy to be boring, you know. And so I would rather make an album that's shit than an album that's boring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. At least got attitude, you know. There is something. There is something you're going for sure.
And I think like when you're learning about mixing, or when you're learning about anything new, it's like very easy to be too careful. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you're doing something. For sure. Particularly when it comes to audio. Like I'd much, and particularly because we're in the box now. I'm not recording to tape. I'm not committing things. So I'd much rather find the point where it's too much, be it compression, be it EQ, be it whatever it is. Find too much low end. Find the point where it breaks, and then just realize, okay, I've gone too far now, and just pull it back from there. Whereas, like, rather than being afraid of it, I think you absolutely. And I think the people that do, maybe it's just the people that I like, but I think the people that do well are the people that have really committed to something. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's good. 80s, who's your inspiration when it comes to recording drums? Could be a drummer, could be also like could be a producer or sound engineer.
I'd say Chad Blake.
Yes, he's the number one. Like so far, everyone.
You know, that was the record I was going to say. Like one of my favorite records in terms of drum sounds is I mean, Chad's done a few, but do you know that band Los Lobos?
Yeah.
Did a record with Chad. I don't think they did a few, but there's one record called Colossal Head that they did in the 90s. I think it's a mid-90s record. And man, the drum sounds are they're just insane. Yeah. And it's that combination that he does, right? Of like really, really crunchy and lo-fi. So just like so much distortion, but also so like lush and like loads of low end. I don't know how he does it. I just don't know how he gets that combination of like dirt, but also with like not harsh high end. High end's always beautiful. It doesn't never get such, and the low end's always like I don't know. He's just if I could work with anyone, I would love to do a drum session with him and just film it and take notes.
Yeah. You know, speaking of, you know, going back and speaking to about like committing to something, he's definitely one of those guys, isn't it? Like there's someone that's 100%. It's like, there we go, let's go in this direction, and he just nails it every time. Yeah, he's the best. Yeah. 9 is best advice you've ever received.
It's this one. To get a part working, simplify it by half and then simplify it by half again. And then you'll have a part. And it's really, really good advice. And I think among drummers, right, there's a sort of slight, and I find myself falling into this trap too. There's a slight like drumming ego in that, like we think that simple is easy, or oh, it's just a cop out, or whereas like, you know, watch Steve Jordan play simply, and you know, that's simple, but it's kind of not, right? Yeah. So I always think that if something isn't working, like when I first started playing, when something wasn't working, if an art, it's just like, oh, whatever, it's not working, no, but the instinct is to like, oh, I need more. I'll do 16 hi-hats, or like, oh, it's nearly always you just need to reduce. You just need to kind of pull it back, and 90% of the time, that is true.
Less is always more. Less.
You can. I think as well, like when you're recording, I think you have to find the essence of the track first. You have to find like the DNA, like what is this thing?
Yeah. And
I think you've got a better shot of that if you find that in its simplest form first. So what is the, and it's usually feel, right? Like where do I need to be sonically? Where do I need to be in time? Where do I need to be on this track? And you find that in just an idiotically simple way. You're like, okay, and then once you've found that, you can embellish it, add to it. But yeah, that's always key. Never do that.
True. Yeah. 10 is worst advice you've ever received. Or feels. What?
I'm sure I've received a lot of that.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It doesn't stick with me.
There is one actually that normally we use like as a backup, but it's like, what advice then would you give someone that's starting out and wants to do exactly what you do today? Like, there is one thing that you would recommend. Just
oh god, one thing.
Or I mean, it can be all things, which is like, you know, just someone that wants to do exactly what you do. Yeah, there is one thing that you would recommend.
I'll tell you one thing. Follow your interests. Think about the thing that interests you, because even in what we're doing, Chris, we're both drummers. You can't cover every base. You can't cover everything. You're not going to be right for every gig, you know? And I think follow the music that inspires you. And if you follow that, you'll find people that you like, and you'll find a community that is sympathetic to you, and you'll play, you know what I mean? And that can be quite wide, you know. There are plenty of players who are out there that have a pretty broad canvas that they work off in terms of styles. But I think if you're starting out, pursue the music that you want to do.
Nice. Beautiful.
You know?
Matt, it's great. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Another question I had, it was like, if you have any upcoming projects that you can share without spoiling anything.
Sure. A few things. I've been really lucky. I've been working on some great stuff at the moment. I've been enjoying. I've just finished an album. Got the first mixes back yesterday with an artist called Nadia Kadek, who is just amazing. And we're just finishing up her next project, should we say? And that, I don't know when that's going to come out, but look out for her, Nadia Kadek. She's amazing.
Cool.
I've also been working with this artist called Erin LeCount, who is this is very modern. I've not met her yet. introduced to her via an A&R who, in a very music industry way, was like, I need some drums and I need them in the next 24 hours. And she's a pop artist who is an amazing producer. Like, she does everything herself, and she's incredible. And she wanted some drums. She couldn't get the program drums on a song working, and she was like, how would it be if I had a drummer play on this? And and I ended up getting recommended, and I played on a couple of tracks, and they're both it's on her new EP. There's a song called I Believe, and it's great.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. I also know that you teach this, like recording drums and like for people that want to.
I do it once a year. So every year, and I've just done it actually. About once a year, I put a shout out on Instagram. Is there anyone that wants to come in and learn whatever? And I just did 3 days of that a couple of weeks. I love doing that. I met so many great people. That's how I met Simon.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So,
like 8 years ago, probably. It was in the old studio. He kind of came in. I think he was just kind of starting out on the recording thing, so he wanted to kind of get his recording chops together. So yeah. Also, I'm playing the Albert Hall in about 6 weeks with an artist. Yeah, which I'm really excited about. With an artist called Narina Palo, who I played with. So I played with her 20 years ago. It was like my first professional gig in 2006. And she had a top 10 album and single. And I somehow ended up in her band. Man, I felt so crazily out of my depth doing that gig, because I went from like playing like middle on at the Dublin Castle with bands to suddenly being in this like very professional kind of outfit. And then I did a year with her like back in 2006, and then I reconnected with her recently. I did some shows with her last year. She's great. She's an incredible musician, pretty perfect. And she's doing like an Albert Hall show, 31st of May, and the band's great. My friend Chris Dagger on bass, Steve Pringle from Michael Kiwanuka's band. He's on keys. He's an amazing musician. I did a record with him a few years back. So yeah, I've got that coming up.
That sounds great. Yeah. If people want to reach out to you and just I don't know, get in touch for either recording or collaborating, or what's the best way to reach out to you? So I can write down everything on the description.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Instagram is, most people sort of get a hold of you on Instagram. It's Matt Urchin on Instagram. I've also got a website, Matt Ingram. I think, is it Matt Ingram? It's Matt Ingram.co.uk, and that's got a contact page. So if anybody wants drums,
So good. Hey, Matt, that was phenomenal. I loved every minute of it, as always.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for asking to do this as well, because like I said, I've really been enjoying these discussions that you've had with people.
Nice one. All right, good to see you, mate. Take care. Yeah, see you. Have a great day.